We are on.
Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Ariel. Okay. So you are one of the few people among the Jewish people who really wants to deepen the relation between the Jews and the Christian and Jesus himself. So I would like to start with an issue that is quite relevant in these times, and it's the fact of the sacrifices. No, so they say that after the temple was destroyed, Jesus became the sacrifice, instead of the rams, etc. Okay, so first of all, I would like you to explain to me and to us who are looking at this transmission, what is the real relation between the Jews and Jesus, and why there is so much misinformation about the fact that Jesus was an enemy of the Jews, that Jesus was not killed by the Romans, but the Jews, etc. What were the things that made this strange story, like fake news, come up? What happened?
When we do a sin, and the sin cause a lot of trouble, that really our sages by themselves, they established Christianity according to, for example, what Rashi said. Their opinion that all Christianity was made by our sages. That Shimon Kefa and Shaul Mitarshish, both of them, was sent by our sages to separate the believer in Jesus from Judaism. So, of course, they don't tell us that they did it, because they prefer to say that it's the fault of Jesus or the million of Jews that was killed by Christians. But if we search very well, carefully, we will find, even from Rashi, that affirms that he will write that Shimon, Yohanan, and Paulus of Shaul, three of them, I don't know how you get to Yohanan here, which Yohanan he talk about. Logically cannot be Yohanan Amadbil, except if you have no idea really about the story of Christianity. He says that there was all Jewish, and they didn't believe what they write. It means they write something just to make themselves, to create a new religion, to separate Christianity from Am Israel. All right, so it's a very big sin. It's not only we denied Jesus, we didn't accept it because we did a mistake. It's not only this. They make a separation of a big part of Am Israel that believe in that Jesus is Mashiach. Completely, they cut them out from Am Israel with this all kind of laws they did, cursing the prayer of the minim, and to create a new religion that, for the disciple of Jesus, it was like continuation, but really it was something else. It was not anymore Judaism.
So that's very interesting what you say, because what we generally,
when you have such a guilt, you don't about all the millions that was killed about Christian, you cannot recognize it is your fault.
Yeah.
You cannot recognize. Today with what's happening, a father that give a vaccine to his children, he cannot recognize that the vaccine kill. Even he will see many people die from the vaccine, he cannot recognize it because he cannot receive in his consciousness that by his fault he caused his children such a evil thing. All right, so you cannot recognize such a thing, so you just refuse to.
So you pass it to
put
the
into
others.
consciousness.
Yes, because what I heard,
Yes,
Ariel.
so you give you send the guilt to Jesus. It's his fault.
Yeah.
All right, so they curse him, etc., etc. What he did, he was just a Jew that teach morality in Am Israel. he didn't did any new religion. He says that we have to listen our sages. All right, I have critics against them, but it's legal.
Yeah, it's very interesting. How did it come instead that the general interpretation is that when Christianity arrived in Rome and it became the religion of the Roman Empire, little by little they took from it away all the real Jewish features and substituted all this aspect of Jewish morality with the myth-like religion and all the religion of the people that the Roman Empire wanted to conquer. How did it happen that from a reality like the one that you're saying, that the Jews themselves, they said, okay, let's get them out. The same as I think, sorry if I say it, but maybe the same as the Orthodox Jews are doing with conservative people, that's another religion. It's not us, okay? It seems to me a bit, okay? But I would just want to know, how did it happen that from the admission that, half of the Jewish people believed in Jesus and believed in the fact that his words were words of Torah? How did it happen that suddenly, a small group of people can make it become a heresy? How did it happen?
Well, Paulus, if really he was sent by our sages, he didn't talk to the Jewish, he talked to the nation. So, and he did say anything that is against Judaism. The nation are not ordered to follow more of the 7 mitzvot of Noach, and this is what he teach them to do. All right, so we should be very happy that he did it, to teach the 7 commandments of Noach to all the world. And in the time of Rome, of Constantinos, 300 years later, when they decide to make it the formal religion of Rome, when they decide that Christianity will be the formal religion, for people to make it easy for them, that there was idolatry, worship, they have already a religion that have to do with, all kind of things that today are in Christianity. So he make a connection between the holidays that was already exist, like the short day in the year. So then it's like the sun die and then he come back to life, etc. So they make connection between the nature and the born, the reborn of Jesus, etc. So they connect the Jewish religion to idolatry stuff. But even in the idolatry stuff, you can find a true point. It's just question of to give them a right interpretation. All right. So today, when I try to rectification of Christianity, I have no problem with the virgin birth, etc. All right, because it is the truth that hiding there. Even if it is.
What is the truth hiding in the virgin?
according to Kabbalah, the mother of Mashiach, I don't talk about a physical mother, but the Bina, the Ima, she's a virgin. And why she's virgin? She's virgin because she's connected to her husband, to Abba Ilah. This is what makes her a virgin. It means she's connected to the renewing of everything. So she's every instant she's new.
Okay,
She
so you're
become new.
talking.
This idea of to be connection to the wisdom, to the Father.
Okay, so
The
we're talking
wisdom is the
about
renewing of the thing.
supernal mother, the supernal virgin, like, you know, Chochmah and Binah, and we're not talking about the physical mother of Jesus.
For example, Bina equal Elul, the month of Elul that have to do with the Mazal Betula. Right? So you see,
Okay, so going in this perspective, that really Jesus not only was not a good Jew, good Rav, but he really had a lot of things to teach us. What is the proposal that you are wanted to offer to make a tikkun of this horrible situation in which the Jewish people today are not only divided among themselves, because there are many Jews who do think that Jesus was a good person, a good rabbi, okay, but they are divided by most of the world, and maybe one of the reasons why there are such crazy things in the world is that Christianity is like a tree that doesn't have roots, and Judaism is like some roots that have lost the trunk and the branches.
yeah.
So how are you seeing the reparation of this? I remember you were talking about a ritual that you wanted some rabbis to perform. So what is the meaning of this ritual to, let's say, start a new page with Christianity?
First of all, we have to recognize the sin of selling yourself. It is written that it's the worst sin in the Torah. It is written in Amos, Ashlosha Pishe Israel. There are the three sins of Israel. What is Avodah Zarah, Shechut Damim, and Gilui Arayot, you know, idolatry, killing, and bad love. I don't know how you say it.
Incest.
Yeah, but about the fourth one, I'm not going to pass. I'm not going to levater, to give up about this. It's to selling a righteous man for money and pair of shoes, right? It means for the selling of yourself, God is not going to levater to say, all right, never mind. Right? It's not going to happen. Even if we must make a correction to recognize that we did a sin.
Okay.
The sin is first of all, we did recognize that, all right, it's a mistake. But after this, the disengagement from a part of Am Israel, it's another sin. And after this, to put all the guilt about this on to Jesus, you know, all the sin of Christianity, all the millions that they killed, to say that it's a fault of Jesus, and to say how much he was evil, so evil that we are even not allowed to say his name. You know, so it's so we have to recognize first of all the sin, and then to start to learn really what he said, what deepness hiding in what he said in the New Testament, what he said.
Okay, what he said that is so important for us to recognize.
You know, these books are so deep. People they always learn the New Testament, the Christian, they don't learn it with deep understanding of Kabbalah and Hasidut.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it talk about 153 fish. Why 153? Why?
Okay.
There are million reasons why. It's very deep. Why 666? Why is the number of the beast? Why? And when you understand why, you can realize how deep it is. Why is that five bread and 2 fish? Why? What is the secret in 5 or 5 and 2? The same thing with the beast, right? The 7 head of the beast starts split to 5 and 2. What is the secret here?
So you mean
you can ask. You know that the book of Matthew mean when. It's a book of time. That each one of these chapters, there are 28 chapters, relate to one of the generation from David to Jesus. 28 generation. And they refer to the 28th time in Kohelet. And the 28th letter with the Matzapah from Aleph to Aleph. Aleph, it is 1,000, etc. So when you realize all this connection, now you are going to ask why in the chapter so and so it talk about the 2 fish and 5 bread, and why in the chapter so and so is going to heal somebody with leprosy, and why before this is time the light of the world, and why the secret of the wine in Cana, why it's place that called Cana, what does this have to do with wine, etc., etc. Nobody learned it in a way that really it's even try to understand what's going on.
sorry, they don't learn it because it's not in Hebrew. They're not learning it in Hebrew. True?
But even if you learn it in English, you say, for example, about planting seed, there are people that listen and what they listen is like a seed that is planted on good earth, and you will give 100 times more, 100 gets in Hebrew, or 60 or 30. Why this number? Why 100, 60, and 30? What
Why?
it mean?
What it means?
What it
You tell me.
Okay, I'm going to I'm prepare a lesson. It will be a lesson of 2 hours. Why? It's not a.
Okay.
It's not the subject now. I just tell you that the New Testament is full of fantastic things. The book of Revelation. Wow. 7 chotamot. 7 shofarot, 7 kearot. And always the 7 split to 4 and 3. What's going on? How you go from one world to the world below? Chotamot like something seals that I don't see. After is a voice. After is something. It's a vessel. It's a kearot. What's going on in the sphere? And why, when in here in this place, there are this symbol and happen this and this in the world? And why, when he's in this place, right, one of the 7 plates or one of the, why there are so many things to understand, nobody even try to understand. and when the Jewish will start to learn it, it's a new revelation completely for Judaism.
So you think
Judaism, saying the same thing, they learn again and again and again the same thing for 2,000 years. All right, we
learn the Talmud so many times. Yes. Okay. But let me ask you one thing. You've been speaking for a long time to start to teach the writings of Jesus. When will you start? Because we talked about so many times. Would you be interested really to start a class, but really? Because
I'm not built to do something regular. I prepare a lesson, and sometimes it takes me 2 weeks, sometimes 1 month to prepare a lesson. usually 1 week, but sometimes more.
Okay.
And,
And don't they say, the sages, when there is not a man, be a man, no? So because you are the only one who can do it, really.
I do whatever I can do, but right now all the year I've been talking just about the year, and I didn't finish. I don't know when I'm going to finish. Maybe in the end of the year. I published already 7 video of each one close to 2.5 hours about things that have to do with the new year. All right, so it's, you know, I go whatever I have something to say, you know, and if you ask me to say something about something that I didn't prepare or
Okay.
didn't think about.
Okay, so I propose this thing. Maybe now I will ask you this question, and next time you will prepare it. Like, I would love to take one of the Gospels, Jesus Gospel, and really to read it with the eyes of the Torah, of the numerology, and of the Jewish tradition. Just one, even one page. Okay, so would you be interested in, we get a few people ready to listen?
You know, lately, what have to do with this year, I've been talking about chapter 17 in the book of Matthew. So all the year I talk about chapter 17.
Okay.
Is the time to ask. It's a time to ask. It's a good year to pray to God. You know, in the end of the chapter, they don't have the money to pay the machatzit shekel, right, to the temple. So Jesus sends them to catch a fish, and he will open his mouth. We're talking about the letter P, the 17th letter of the fish, and then they will pull their the coin of silver.
Coin.
And in the beginning of the chapter, he talks about the reunion of Yeshua with Moshe and with Eliyahu, that together equal Tafshin Pei Gimel, what is this year.
Okay.
783. It's why we've been talking about this chapter. One of the reasons. In another place, he talk about if the child will ask from a father a bread, is going to give him a stone. And if a child asks his father a fish, is going to give him a snake. And if he asks an egg, he's going to give him a scorpion. Right? We talk about time to ask. The child asks for something. So this the bad alternative, 2 equals the same thing, 786. I talk about the stone, the snake, and the scorpion.
Okay, do you have any?
So these 3 bad things are related to the 3 good things, what is Yeshua, Moshe, and Eliyahu. How they are related? How we can transform the bad thing to good thing, etc. And why? What is the connection between the egg and the scorpion, and Moshe and the fish, etc., Moshe and the snake, etc. You know, there are many things.
Okay, in what language did you do it,
I did
Ariel?
in
English.
It's
okay.
already seven lessons I've been talking about this.
Okay, can I receive a link to this?
Yeah, it's in YouTube. You know, the last video I published there in YouTube, in facing each other.
Okay. So I will look at those. Also, ask my friends to look at those. And in the meantime, maybe you could prepare a little interview on this very incredible ritual that you would like, this psychodrama that you wanted to organize, you know, with how many, with 70 sages, 70 rabbis, how was the thing? They were gonna read
no, with 70, with 10 rabbis.
10 rabbis, okay.
To
So
do a
what
retrial. First of all, I want to do a ceremony
Mhm,
with Rabbi Ginsburg.
mhm.
And so far, right now, Rabbi Ginsburg, you know, don't want to do it. He asked me to get the 2 million to do it, but I said, get the money and then we'll see. But maybe it's like you don't do it right now because maybe you don't see that the environment around me is ready for it. You don't see if I'm not able to find $2 billion for Christian world to represent Jesus and to do a retrial of Jesus, me against 10 rabbi as a TV show. If I'm not able to collect for do such an important thing, $2 million from the and to bring formally Jesus to Am Israel, you know, if I'm not able to do it, it means I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Or the world is
So he's not going to say, well, I hope that you will be ready. I accept to do it, but no, cannot do it. He cannot say that because if he will say a word that is accept with what I say, that to bring Jesus back to Am Israel, it will be a catastrophe. He said a few words, and after he took it out from the internet, I don't want to get with this. All right, so it's a dialogue between all right, so we have this. I have this letter. I have a dialogue with the Rabbi Itiel in the name of the Rabbi Ginsburg. That guy, Rabbi Ginsburg said, whatever you decide together, I will go with this. And we decide together to do it in 3 steps. To do the ceremony with the $2 million to bring back, you know, I am a priest, to do the like Pidyon Haben, the ritual of buy back Jesus from the priesthood because he was sent to the priesthood. In the moment he's sent to the priesthood, his cherem is not belong anymore to Am Israel. So we have to reverse this ceremony. After we need a time of preparation, and after we start to the retrial.
okay. I have a question. You don't think that this price, let's say, that Rav Gizmor is asking for him to be involved could have a opposite reaction, in the sense that if I was a Christian or if I was a Goy, I would think those Jews, they're only looking for money. Okay, so why don't you do it? Just
the Christian give to Messianic Jew millions, and they do a wrong thing, because according to the New Testament, we are not supposed to do mission with the Jewish. Only all the Goyim, go to all the nation.
okay.
We
So
are
why?
not supposed to, because why? Because Jesus said we have to listen to everything the Rushim and the Sofrim tell us to do, because they are sitting on the front of Moshe.
But I don't understand why we cannot ask the missionary who are giving millions to the Jews, okay, why we cannot ask them to do the same thing?
We ask them.
To the missionary? Yeah, you're talking.
I asked the Christians, the Christian world to give 2 million to do this ceremony. Only not because we don't have the 2 million. Rabbi Ginsburg has the 2 million. He have somebody that will give the 2 million if you just ask. This is not the problem. The problem is to show to Rabbi Ginsburg that I have a strong organization and I have a good influence on the Goyim, and they support me. Not only to eat, they support me.
Okay.
You know, right now, what they support, the organization, is just to eat. It's all.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And and they give millions to the all the Messianic organization in Israel. Millions. They have all villas with a center, with a place to give a lecture, with a bibliothèque, with everything. They have fantastic places.
Okay, why would not they be interested in Jesus coming back to the Jewish people? Because they want to keep the division between the two religions?
Who? The Jewish? Why?
The missionaries.
The missionary, I don't know what they have in their head. If you talk about the Jewish missionary, you know, everything they do is wrong. It's completely wrong. They make life of our sages, make life of Torah. They don't believe in any deep learning of Torah, Kabbalah and Hasidut. Right? We are biblical. You can explain me why there are 153 fish? Yes, it's just a coincidence, 153 fish. What I care it's land. Why under the fig tree it was Philip and Nathanael? What I care? It could be a tree of banana. What I care?
Yeah.
This kind of attitude to Torah that you don't learn deeply what it means, it's where they are, and it's all the Christian word is, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, so let's do like this. Let me give you one issue that I really would like to talk about next time from the point of view of Jesus and his relation to Jews. And it could be the temple and the sacrifices and the issue of eating animals.
I am, for my opinion, when we be the first temple, the sacrifice of meat will not be edible. I think the world slowly will become vegetarian. You know, it will not eat meat anymore.
Yeah, but there was a rabbi, David Rosen, who he made an halacha with a group of 70 rabbis that they said that the new kasherut is vegetarianism, veganism. And even though he involved some rabbis that were pretty good rabbis, no one listened to him. I mean, very few people listen to him.
Today, like I said, it is written in Vaikra Rabbah, it is written that in the future will be only sacrifice of plant, what you call mincha, like a sacrifice to say thank you, korban todah. How it is this verse? מזבח חדש בציון, how is this verse? מזבח חדש בציון תכין. A new altar in Zion, you will probably have the acronym of Mahvat. Mahvat is the thing you do the eggs, you know, you do the mincha al Mahvat, like we sing in Shabbat. All right, so there are many good reasons why in the future the sacrifice of animal will stop. Because if we will become a vegetarian, God will become vegetarian too. And you know, in Torah, usually we say about that the true is internal, and what was true 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago is true today too. But about sacrifice, there are all the time changes. In the Torah, you can see it in different way. In different way, that something that it was allowed, it become, or something that was not allowed in a time, it become allowed after. Like the bamot. in the time of the Avot, it was we can't sacrifice in any place. After it became only in Jerusalem. In the beginning, we was allowed to eat only kodashim, meat of sacrifice, not any meat anywhere. And after we will receive the authorization to eat anywhere meat. We don't have to go to the temple to eat meat, etc. Right? Or whatever happened in Pesach, the sacrifice, they put it on the door. We don't do it anymore. All right, so it's like what have to do with sacrifice, the Torah changed mind. It's like God changed mind. All right? So in the moment, because it's depend of the time, of the situation, of the people.
I want to go back to one thing that you said, very interesting. If we become vegetarian and compassionate, God also is going to become compassionate. So quote me
another thing, yeah.
Quote me some verses, please, that say that our cruelty to animals will come back to us in cruelty towards human beings.
Of course, yeah, it is terrible. You know, it's not only the terrible way they put it in a cage, the chicken, and all the vaccines they put, all the antibiotics, all the hormones, etc. It's a poison. And we eat with an animal that suffers. It's not a happy chicken we eat. All right, so this come back against us. And, you know, the best, really the more important reason why do not eat meat today is for the health, our health. Our physical health is very important. It's not only a spiritual health that is important. And anything that has to do with physical health, I think it's better do not eat meat. You know, there are reasons why the Torah gives us the permission to eat meat, because we do alat mitzotzot, you know, there are all these parts that will bring them back up, and you know, and like.
But this has given the excuse of many people, you know, to keep eating meat without any
and,
real.
You know, it is another thing. You know, the spiritual world are fed by the sacrifice. Like we eat something that is below us, right? Something that is domem, is even not life, and we elevate it to our state of being when I eat a melafefon, right? And the same thing about the angel, all the spiritual world. And when they don't receive the sacrifice they need, in the sacrifice there are many levels. There's the intention of the sacrifice and the sacrifice himself. In the moment we'll kill somebody, his soul become energy.
Okay.
And there are angels that are fed by this part of this energy, not the right. Because all right, so when we don't give the energy to the spirit world with the good mitzvot we do, with all kind of good things we do, when it's not happen, when there are not enough people that are prayer to God, it's a sacrifice, a prayer. They don't do it, so it's why there are so many dead in the world. It's why God needs that it will be a milchemet olam, a world, million people have died. Because it must be balanced between the physical existence and the spiritual existence.
Okay, let me finish. Let me interrupt you. You know, this idea I've heard many times, yes, but it's not valuable today anymore because I'm sure there is no angel who's going to be happy of the blood of an animal who has suffered all his life, and it's exactly contrary to the
I
Torah.
talk about not only the death of the animal. I talk about the blood of the human people. People have to die because we are not good. If we are not good enough people, if we don't feed the highest with the prayer, people have to die instead.
Okay.
You understand this idea? All right. So now there are different times in the evolution of humanity. All right. So in the past, if the Torah gives the permission to the sacrifice, it was needed. And in the future, when will be Mashiach here, I talk about, the building of the temple can be 40 years after Mashiach is already here. It's not will be immediately. Only when we have peace all over the world, we build the temple, and only then is the question what kind of sacrifice we give. So after 40 years that we have Mashiach here on earth, the humanity will be different. And if the humanity will be different, people will pray, will give the food, the spirit existent need. If it is happen, so we will not need a sacrifice that cause suffering to the animal. We will not need it anymore. So it will change. It's why it will change, because the humanity will change.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a few questions, but I'll write them to you because I want you to be, prepared to these questions. And in the meantime, I will do some homework, which is go and see the classes that you already did on Facebook, and we will. I think you should. I don't know if Emmanuel, who's there, Emmanuel, would you be able to summarize a bit, because the problem also with your English is that we don't understand all of it, because you have a French accent and a Hebrew accent, and I cannot understand everything. And I think that some people will have the same problem. So I'm wondering if Emmanuel, who is so passionate of your work, he can go under your voice and write in English.
Yeah, of course. I am thankful if anybody will do it for all the video. We have 1,000 videos that somebody.
Okay, so if Emmanuel could do this, it would be fantastic, because in that case, you could even give the classes in Hebrew, because Hebrew is your first language and it's going to flow and you're going to be able to use the proper words. So my suggestion is that let's start to do some homework. I would love to see your classes translated. Yes, and next one, let's do it in Hebrew with under subtitles in English. Would you agree?
Yeah, if it is somebody that is willing to.
But what about Emmanuel? Emmanuel, your friend who is.
Yes, we can do that.
You're talking about Theodore. What? Theodore,
yes. Theodore,
okay,
can you tell
us? Whoever is volunteer to do it, I will be thankful. I don't know if Theodore have time to do it, if you can do it.
You don't have to do everything. You just have to pick one or two good classes or some pieces of the classes and go, because what you're saying is so important. But really,
I asked already people, to do it many times. I even propose money to people to do it, and so far it's not moving much.
Okay.
So far it's not moving. It's not a difficult. It's not a easy work to do it. It's a woman that promised to do it, to translate to Spanish. Spanish don't have anything. and it's a lot of work to do it. And one of the reasons I need million, forget about the ceremony. You know, just to take 1,000 videos, it's about what we have there. To translate this to all the language, we need millions to do it. You understand how much time it takes to take a video of 2.5 hours and to translate it to Hebrew or to Chinese or to German or to French or to Hebrew if I speak English.
Yeah.
Okay. It's something very, very important, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, because we don't get not even half of your message, and that's what I'm realizing now. So let's find a way to find someone to help you. Okay, so I must go because there is somebody who arrived, but I will start to think how to do it. Maybe next time I will send you the questions and we can speak in Hebrew, that I understand better your Hebrew, most of it, and what I don't understand, I can ask you to translate in English, and we will get someone to do the translation in English.
Okay, we've got help.
Okay, we find one topic that is really important, and we start with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I really hope that you'll be able to bring this truth and this justice, you know, because what's happening in the world, I think, is that there is injustice prevailing, and all the killing of the people that is happening is because there is injustice towards animals, towards people who don't have rights, and so, you know, whoever can do his part should do it. So I'm happy to help you if I can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care and have a good Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Shalom, shalom. Bye bye.